Defenders fans have officially created the longest beer snake on earth. The only football player to look at that beer snake and say, you know what? It's not that long. It's old Nick Foles. Welcome to That's Good Sports, and I have great news. The Rock listened to our demands, and the DC Defenders have revived the beer snake. It is no longer illegal per this official statement from the Defenders, and it was back in all of its glory. But how long will it last? Because Defenders fans made it rain with beer cups. The rules specifically state no throwing cups. Although the best part is the last line that says, please drink responsibly. And week 3 of the XFL proved to be the best weekend of games so far. So today, I will recap the best and worst plays, players, highlights, and moments here on That's Good Sports. Come on, tag the Rock so he notices me. Please subscribe to this YouTube channel if you want to support me. A great way to do it is with my coffee company over at BenchwarmerBrew.com. The Loser's Blend, it's a limited edition, so once the Loser's Blend is gone, you can't have it no more, you loser. But we've got blends from Col de Rouge, Urinating Tree, 5 Points. And the cheapest way to get my coffee is signing up through our subscription service. And also Patreon and YouTube memberships if you're feeling super generous. Because we do Zoom Hangouts for all members, $10 and above every month. Let's start with my worst caught cheating award. Well, that goes to Quentin Dormandy, who was cut on Friday by the Guardians after he was accused of selling or giving plays to a rival team. Now, the XFL is currently investigating this situation. He's been reinstated to the league, and I'll wait until we get more info to determine whether or not he actually sold off plays. All I can confirm at this point is that Dormandy is not the love child of Kirk Cousins and Andrew Luck. My best game? Well, that's going to the Vipers and the Dragons. Now, the Dragons finally get the win to go with all of Ben DiNucci's passing yards. And this time he did not fumble the game away in the fourth. The Dragons' first series, though, was no indication that this would be a good game. Really, the whole first half. My worst funeral? Well, that's going to a Spring League hero who may be dead and buried 6 feet under. The Vegas Vipers put legend QB Luis Perez on the bench and started Brett Hundley. And they may never look back because Hundley's getting my best individual performance of the weekend award even though Vegas lost. What happens in Vegas is the house always doesn't win. Now, Hundley was a big improvement over Perez, throwing for 224 yards, 2 touchdowns, and no interceptions. It wasn't just his arm, though. Hundley churned out 66 rushing yards and a rushing TD, making him the Vipers' leading rusher as well. Also making him the only former Packers QB named Brett to give back and not steal away. The Vipers are now 0-3, joining the Guardians as the 2 winless teams in the XFL. But with Hundley, I think the Vipers are about to have a big turnaround in fortune. My best QB, Ben DiNucci, who finally did not fumble the game away, even though he still fumbled twice in this game, but only lost one, okay? The Nooch became the first 300-yard passing QB in the XFL this season, made some clutch throws like this one on 3rd and 7 late in the game, averaged 10.2 yards per attempt, and found the end zone 4 times with his arm. He now leads the league in passing yards, completion percentage, and I think his 7 TD passes are tied atop with Brandon Silvers and AJ McCarron. The Dragons had 519 yards of offense in this game. So yeah, the Dragons' offense exploited the Vipers' defense. Running back Morgan Ellis got 103 yards on the ground. I could be wrong, but I think that was the first 100-yard rusher of the season. Josh Gordon had the first 100-yard receiving game of the season. Best finish award. Josh Gordon catching the game winner from DiNucci for a 64-yard touchdown. A play that went more viral than Al Capone's syphilis-ridden dick, and a play perfectly highlighted by DiNucci's bellowing laughter. When a DiNucci laughs, an Italian angel gets her wings. The globe also gets 1 degree warmer from all of that hot air, but let's focus on the angel part. Moving on to the Battlehawks and Defenders, I asked for more points and more sustained scoring drives last week, and the Battlehawks and Defenders followed suit, nearly proving to be as fun of a game as the Vipers and Dragons. Now, the one thing they ignored in that request was the word sustained. A.J. McCarron can deal. He had 4 passing touchdowns in this game, but he also had 2 picks, and the Battlehawks had 2 fumbles to go along with that. DC fumbled 3 times in this game. That's 5 fumbles and 2 interceptions all in one game. But my best balls deep pass of the week is going to QB Jordan Teamo, throwing a bomb to Chris Blair on the Defenders' first drive of the game, setting up a 7-yard TD pass a couple plays later to tight end Ethan Wolf, who also tacked on a 2-point conversion with a very Andy Reid-esque shovel call. Worst slip, just a couple plays after the Defenders scored on offense, the Battlehawks had a receiver slip on his route, causing old A.J. McCarron's pass to go straight to Defenders corner Michael Joseph, who looked like Aqib Talib as he took it back all the way for the score. That's already the 3rd pick of the year and 2nd pick 6 for Joseph. Basically, he'd be the Guardians' leading receiver with those kinds of numbers. My best celebration is going to running back Brian Hill after his 8-yard TD reception to give the Battlehawks their first points of the day. Hill dropped the people's elbow as an obvious tribute to pro wrestler and XFL owner Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, who turned the art of looking like he was having a seizure into a pretty badass wrestling move. Almost impressive was A.J. McCarron's dip, duck, dive, and dodging ability on the 2-point conversion. My best kick return of the season is going to Darius Shepard, who hits the gas, kept his balance, and weaved his way inside the Defenders' 25-yard line, setting the stage for a wide-open Jake Sutherland TD to give St. Louis the lead. Sutherland's first touchdown since 2017 when he was at Morehead State. Fucking Morehead State, don't make a blowjob joke, don't make a blowjob joke. Don't make a blowjob joke. Speaking of Morehead and Sutherland's, which actor do you think got Morehead through their career? Kiefer Sutherland or Donald Sutherland? Okay, sorry. My best finisher. Ultimately, the Defenders pulled away with a touchdown apiece from QBs Teamu and De'Aaron King. Jordan Teamu led an 81-yard touchdown drive to get that score. De'Aaron King shocked us all, dealing with his arm for a TD instead of his now patent weekly rushing tud. I thought the game was over when Kentrell Bryce looked like Ed Reed when he ranged over from safety and ended the game on a beautiful diving pick. It was the end of the game, but then shit got wild as Jordan Teamu fumbled the snap with 22 seconds, giving the Defenders Stephen Mitchell Jr. an easy touchdown and 2-point conversion. The Battlehawks, who were the only team so far to convert the 4th and 15 onside play this season, failed to do so when the Defenders sacked A.J. McCarron to finally end the game. Best blaming of the refs? Well, that's going to A.J. McCarron, who I wish was a member of the Philadelphia Eagles after the Super Bowl, because in his media appearance, he went pretty hard into the Zebras, who admitted they blew a few calls.
3 to 4 times in the game where the refs came back to us and said, we missed that call, and apologized. Straight up apologized. I think it was helmet to helmet at the end on 4th and 15 on me. And then the dude power drives me at the end. We haven't had a defensive pass interference in 3 games.
But the best part of this game was that a fight broke out after that hit AJ mentioned, and 3 players were ejected from the game that was already over. My worst game of the weekend is going to the Renegades versus Guardians. Arlington hangs on in a 10-9 protest to scoring. Also what I called my time in college. My worst ball security award? Well, that's going to Guardians running back Jermaine Martin, who had not 1 but 2 costly fumbles in this terrible game. If you're talking about providing security for the ball, and the best security is the Secret Service, Martin was Paul Blart Mall Cop of ball security. And his teammate, Fred Lawina, is the Dick Cheney of friendly fire as his hand knocked the ball out there. Thought it might be too soon for a Baldwin reference here. Most improved player, that's going to Paxton Lynch. Not only did he not allegedly sell off plays to the enemy, he was efficient in this game, didn't turn the ball over, outperformed his former Bronco teammate Kyle Sloter, drove the Guardians down the field late in the third to give them a fourth quarter lead. Which leads me to my worst tackling. Going to the Renegades defense, I can't even count how many tackles Dedrick Thomas broke here for the first down. Lynch capped that drive with a rushing touchdown of his own, but the Guardians failed to convert their extra point, and they are now the only team who has yet to convert any of their PATs this year. My best friend award is going to Kyle Sloter, who got the start in place of Drew Plitt this weekend for the Arlington Renegades. The team's leading receiver tight end, Sal Cannella, is only playing ball in the XFL because Sloter told him to get into the mix. Cannella now 16 receptions on the season, most of any Renegade ball catcher. Sloter only needed one TD in this game for the win, and that was Tyler Vaughn taking a shot before getting 6. Sloter had 9 passing TDs in the USFL last year, but this was his first TD as an XFL member. And when asked what's the difference between playing in the XFL versus the USFL, Sloter responded, "The letters. It's the letters." The Guardians had chances to win, but it came down to Paxton Lynch with very little time left on the clock. Paxton, to his credit, threw 2 back-to-back deep catchable balls down the right sideline on 3rd and 13 and 4th and 13, but neither receiver could maintain possession or get both feet down. I think the more Lynch's hairline recedes, the better he gets at QB, and he's close to having a Nick Cage-level revival. Roughnecks versus Brahmas. Houston remains undefeated and looks like the best team in the league, just ahead of the Defenders as they turned the Brahmas into ground chuck. Now this game had our best start, back-to-back opening TD drives by both teams. The Brahmas got a jolt on the opening kickoff from return man Travis Johnson, ultimately punching it in with a well-thrown slant route to TJ Vasher, nephew of former Bears corner Nathan Vasher. The Necks responded, however, mounting a drive with a lot of chunk plays that culminated in a Brandon Silvers TD pass to Jontre Kirkland, who made 3 grabs on that opening drive. Silvers went back to Kirkland, like me, shopping for a new quarter zip and a 6-month supply of toilet paper, and gave Houston the lead with a 2-pointer. Kirkland, first name Costco, made the best catch of the weekend with the second quarter grab, high-pointing the ball, just a grown-ass man grab in the second, following it up with his second touchdown on a little touch pass from the 3-yard line from Silvers. I think Kirkland has 5 TDs on the season. He really is a high-quality product, dressed in more affordable clothing. It brings me no joy to give Jack Cohn the worst QB of the weekend award. I felt like he was just picking up steam after last week, and after a great opening drive for the Brahmas, just 64 passing yards against that dominant Roughnecks defense, he was more like Jack Cohn of shame because he looked completely neutered out there. It might be time for Hines Ward to give former San Diego State baller QB Reed Sinnett the job moving forward. Brandon Silvers would finish with 278 passing yards and 3 passing touchdowns, but almost all of that production came in the first half. So the Roughnecks, if you want to nitpick, didn't play a complete game, and they still dominated the Brahmas and were carried by their defense late to close this one out. Best adjustment goes to Travel Harris, who turned around in traffic to haul in a long pass late in the second quarter, which unfortunately for the Necks only led to a missed field goal. My worst copycat play? Well, Houston tried to run the famous Eagles QB sneak in the fourth quarter, but got stuffed on 4th and 1, showing truly how valuable Jason Kelsey really is in the middle of Philly's offensive line. My best interception? Well, this looks like the work of a magician from Jenny Harris. Now, I thought the Brahmas receiver had come down with the pass, and all of a sudden, Harris was celebrating with the ball in his hand. I don't even think Harris looked at the ball before picking this one off. He just willed it into his possession. It's pretty cool when The Rock is even tweeting about your filthy pick. And if you wanted a Rock talking about you this weekend, it was definitely Dwayne and not Chris.
Everybody called him a bitch.
And that's your Week 3 XFL recap. Come back next Monday and we'll continue with this fun highlighting of the spring league that's really grabbing a hold of my heart.